Hello and welcome to Never on the Back Foot. The ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024 started on 2nd June, and so far we've witnessed some fantastic encounters. Be it, the US giving us that magical start for that seven-wicket win versus Canada, or that super over win versus Pakistan, or, Uganda registering their first win, or Afghanistan, cementing that amazing victory versus New Zealand, or even Bangladesh defeating Sri Lanka. This week has pretty much seen it all. So in today's episode, we'll pretty much be reviewing all these games and provide the all exclusive preview that you all have been waiting for this India versus Pakistan game. And joining us is a very special guest. We have Arjun Hemmady. He is a Mumbai-based full-time finance professional who also, shares a deep love for writing and basically all things cricket. He's a two-time published author. He's also a freelance sports journalist. Arjun loves reading, writing, watching, just everything cricket, and he also makes memes in his spare time, and that's pretty fun. So make sure you check that out. And he does a bit of writing along the way. Man is a polymath, as you can see. And a warm welcome to you, Arjun. Thank you so much for joining us, and to all the viewers as well. Please make sure you share your thoughts, comments, feedback, basically anything in the chat box, and we'll make sure to address it in our conversation as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So yeah, Arjun, the burning question, how would you assess the World Cup so far? It's just been 1 week. We've witnessed like 16, 17 competitive matches. It's not been a dull moment so far. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the same?
Yeah, thanks for having me on your program. Once again, I'm like a repeat customer kind of. So, so yeah, my views so far are that a lot of surprises are happening. It is good. Let us see surprises. As long as it does not happen with India, it is fine. That is my one condition. I don't want any surprises with India. So yeah, it's a roller coaster. I think it's in a new place of the world where cricket is not really played that much. So it's a novelty kind of factor, and the time of the matches also, is not that probably helpful for us in India over here. But whenever we have time, got to tune in and watch, especially today's match.
Exactly. I mean, all the India matches, fortunately, are at time zones, timings which are very
Yeah,
convenient to us here.
yeah.
But the other matches, you also, I think we've spoken about this. We were just catching the match, like, through
Yeah.
highlights or just watch, reading it through the scorecard. So that first match, right, versus USA and Canada, we got to see a
Mhm.
competitive match.
Yeah. Yeah.
US won that match, giving the perfect start to the campaign. You had Aaron
Hmm.
James, producing that, blinder of a knock and everything. So, what were your major takeaways from that encounter?
I thought that the score of Canada was good enough for them. I thought 194 that they made was good enough. The thing was, see, when Aaron Jones came into bat, they were around 42 for 2 at 6.3 overs. I thought it was kind of in the balance. They needed 10 runs per over and they were at almost 7 or something. So a little below par required. But still, the way Aaron took them on, like he hit like 10 sixes or something. And that was good. And I think what I really liked was they had somebody like Corey Anderson. His reputation in T20 cricket precedes himself. Still, I think they have not built a team around him, which is a good thing in my opinion. They have not gone in for personalities, they've gone in for who does well. I think I'll say this something which I hope India also learns along the way sometime, that personalities don't win matches, players win matches. This is something which I thought, and also like Unmukh Chand, he's kind of he's like he has a name. Him being not taken in the squad, that means something, that these guys are serious. They may not. I know what they've done in the we'll discuss the Pakistan match, but still, it seems like a good unit at that particular level, whatever they have, and the signs are good as long as they can maintain it.
Definitely, because I think for a lot of cricket fans, who end up following cricket, they don't know that there is a US team which is
Yeah,
actually performing so well. They have a good domestic system as well, and it's great to see them actually come to the forefront, host this, partially host this World Cup, and actually put up performances like that. So a great point there of how
yeah,
they're actually trying to build a team rather than just get the best of all players and just put them in
yeah,
this
yeah.
specific team. And moving on to our second match as well, we had Papua New Guinea take on West Indies, and we saw how great a fight PNG put in, right? I mean, we were just seeing wickets tumbling. West Indies was,
Yeah.
kind of struggling a little there. Yet we saw them, drive home with a win, and it didn't seem like such a big hassle at that point.
Hmm.
So, what did you make of that match, and did you think PNG could pull off a win against the West Indies?
So like just a bit of a factoid in a way. The coach of PNG is a guy called Tatendra Taibu. He was
Yes.
he was an ex-Zimbabwe player who debuted at the age of 18, became a big name. I mean, his performance was kind of decent, but being at such a young age at that level was kind of a big thing. So he's the coach of PNG. That his name caught my eye because I used to watch him play back in the day. So about that, and I think I found it inspirational the way that PNG fought, especially because it is in the home ground of West Indies. I mean, they could have just said we got less than 150, we can just let them roll over, but still they did what they did. I mean, they pushed them as much as they could. But what I'm worried about in the future is this ground, that Guyana ground, is going to be the ground where India may play the semis if we qualify for the semis. And we have in like one more match is there in like one more matches has been, in like has been played over there. This match plus the other match, all of them have had below 150 scores. Now, what I'm worried about is that Indian players have come from the IPL where you had 270, 280 scores. Now, directly 150 is kind of an adjustment. So, I'll be a little worried about that. I mean, more than anything else. I mean, I look at it from an India perspective, everything. That is something which I'll be like, worried how our players adjust to batting, bowling, everything. That is something which you have to put real thought in, because ours is the only team where we know where we are going to play our semis. Every other team does not know. The other teams don't know. I mean, ours is the only that if we come in the semis, you're going to play in Guyana, and the time is going to be 8 p.m. our time for the prime time and all that. So these things, I'll be a little worried. I mean, looking at that wicket, if something is not done about it, I'm not saying I want 300 per inning and all that, but if 180 is scored, then if it is a real troublesome wicket, that is something which I'll be worried about, and it seems a bit, like I mean, even West Indies struggle to get over 136 or something, which PNG made. That is a worrisome sign for me.
Certainly, and just a sub question here now. You
Yeah,
spoke about how we're coming from the IPL and we saw scores of like 200, 250,
yeah,
just, being breached left, right, and center. Now, you yourself have seen generations worth of cricket. You've
yeah,
seen
yeah,
a time when T20s didn't exist, and then
yeah,
how
yeah,
it
yeah,
suddenly, came into
yeah,
the public conscience and everything.
yeah.
So, are you the sort of person who likes these, heavy scoring T20
No,
matches, or do you like to see these 150s, 160s kind of being defended?
so I started watching cricket in 1996. That time, 250 was a good score in a 50-over match.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I mean, 250 was like 320 right now. I would say it in that way. People would actually think, yeah, they scored 250, can we make it or not? It was a point of debate. So that I started watching in an era where 250 was enough for 50 overs. Now 250 is less for 20 overs. So it is a culture shock for me. Actually, it was a shock for me. But I like that good contest of bat and ball. I'm not much of a fan of big scores and all that. I like watching bowlers more than like batters and all that. I'm more of a strategy kind of guy. Like 150 something. As long as India wins, nothing matters. That is my bottom line. Everything else is secondary. But yeah, I like a good contest between bat and ball. As long as India wins in the end, everything is fine.
Right, because the kind of discourse that we see on the internet right now is how this World Cup sees a lot of favor to the bowlers, right? I
Yeah,
mean, we're
yeah,
coming
yeah,
from the IPL where the bowlers are just brutally hit all around the park,
yeah,
and here
yeah.
we see probably a little more balance of how the bowlers are also finding themselves actually compete like head to head, shoulder to shoulder with
There should be a
the
good
batters as
balance.
well.
There
Hmm.
should be a good balance, but the balance should be balance means what? Equal sort of,
Yeah, yeah.
or maybe 60-40. If it is bowlers 80, batters 20, then that's not fun. I mean, if that is not just because in IPL it was 80-20 doesn't mean that in the T20 make it 20-80 and it's fine. No, it does not work that way. I think everywhere it should be a
Certainly.
bit this time that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think in the latter part of our conversation as well, we will talk a little bit more on the pitches and
Yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
we kind
Sure.
of make of
Yeah.
it. And just moving on to our next match, this was, I
Yeah.
think, one match that I was really excited about. That was the Oman versus Namibia match. Again, an
Hmm.
absolute thriller. The match went
Hmm.
down to a super over, and for a lot of
Hmm.
us, it was like the match that is happening in the morning. So I say, you're eating your breakfast, you're watching the match, and there's just so much happening there. So again, what did you take away from that match, and any major observations?
I thought Namibia would have had an easy time with Oman. I thought, I mean, Oman is not that much of a major country. I mean, Namibia, they have played World Cups, 50 over World Cups also in the past. So it's not like they are an unknown, like an unknown country. So I thought they'll run over them. But what happened in the end surprised me kind of. But this actually shows that you can't take any side lightly, especially in T20. I won't say the same in ODI or Test is out of the question because some countries won't even play Test. What
Yeah.
happens in Test is your people's technique. There's no place to hide if you have bad technique in Test. Well, if you have bad technique in ODI, you can get away with it to an extent. T20 there is no problem because the pitch also won't deteriorate as much. So like for example in an ODI, if you bat on the first over and you bat in the 50th over, there will be a difference. You have to adjust. Maybe in a T20 first over 20th over, you may not have to adjust that much. Well, in a test, first over 90th over, boss, if you don't have good technique, probably you can't survive. So this
Yeah.
is where T20 is the most unpredictable. Where I'd say countries which you think are not that well known, with not such good players, they can spring a surprise, like Oman tried to do with Namibia. So in theory, I'm not so surprised. In the sense, I thought Namibia would run them over, but when considering what I'm saying, yeah, I mean, we should not be surprised when we see such a kind of a thing. Yeah.
Certainly, and riding the high of this Oman versus Namibia match, we moved on to the Sri Lanka versus South Africa encounter,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
was a close one, right? It was a
Yeah.
low-scoring
Yeah.
encounter. We again saw, South Africa registering that win. It felt a little scratchy, didn't feel like those conventional wins you would get. They were,
Hmm. Hmm.
really
Hmm.
grinding it out and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what did you observe from that game, and from a South Africa perspective too? Would they be very happy with the win, considering how it came?
I think the quality of the wicket is something which again I think we'll get to that later. But yeah, I'm a little worried about that, especially in a market tournament like this. It's a little worrisome. But I think South Africa or any team for that matter should take the wins as they get it, as long as they don't have any problem of net run rate, which will come later on in the tournament. First 2 3 games, I think just go out there and win, and in whatever way you can, good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. As like when you get into that knockout phase, then good, bad, ugly again does not matter. But you know, as long as you don't have a problem of net run rate, as long as they don't have a problem of net run rate, they can play the way they want. As long as they get those how many of points they need. So I won't be too worried of. And South Africa's got a very good squad. Huh? Whatever little I've seen about them, they've got a very good squad, especially pacers. I'm not sure how effective they may be in such slow conditions. I think the wickets here are a little slow, especially in West Indies. But still, I mean, South Africa is one team I'll be really looking to and see how they do in the tournament.
Yeah, for sure, because they're one team you just can't write off. And again, come back to why South
Yeah.
Africa's performance has been a little like off. I mean, even though they've registered some like crucial wins, but we will get to that a little later. And let's talk about even the Afghanistan versus Uganda match. Now, this was again entirely one-sided, and Afghanistan registered this massive 125 run win, which was a
Hmm.
big up to their prospects, right? Because a lot of people
Yeah.
are like, hey, they might not actually make it to the Super 8s, but if they continue their performance and starting off with this one, they are looking like a formidable contender, no?
We should not forget that the only reason, according to me, the only reason why Afghanistan did not make it in the top four was that Glenn Maxwell innings,
Yeah.
and that came to hurt us in the end.
Mm.
But still, I think a side which is competitive in 50 overs to that extent should not ever be written off in T20. And I think Afghanistan is a side which I think Rashid Khan is a very good leader. He's a good captain. I see a lot of unity in this side. I see a lot of intensity in the field. They are on the same page. Everybody's on the same page. I mean, I think they're the dark horses for this tournament. They should make the semis definitely. I think they should. I think anything less than a semis berth for them is a disappointment, according to me. Um, I'll say this. I mean, I know it's going to sound controversial, but I'll say this: Afghanistan probably has a better chance in the knockout than India has. Probably, I would probably say that because they are good in the field also. India is a side which, according to me, we have only two or three good fielders, Jadeja and Virat Kohli. I'm not sure how good the others are. I mean, with due respect to everyone, um, we are a bit on the older side. I think our age is around 30, average 30. I'm not talking that older people can't field. I mean, Jadeja and Virat are both 36, but still they're one of the best. But it's about, see, I mean, especially in these low scoring tournaments, with this is going to be a low scoring tournament. I think this trend has shown so far. In a low scoring tournament, every run matters. And when you're and like when you're fielding, especially, like if you've seen any like if you've seen a match in the stadium, you will know that when a batsman scores one run, whether he had a chance to make it two or not. Why did he not make it two runs? Because the fielder, he ran very fast towards the ball and he intercepted the ball and threw the ball and stopped the batsman from taking the second run. That is something which a fast and fit fielder can do. I'm not saying our fielders are not like that. I'm just saying. I mean, on paper, I saw that two or three we had very good fielders. Other than that, I mean, we are decent, but we need better than decent. Now, if we want to win, we are India. I mean, we are expected to win every tournament. If we want to win, then, I mean, just the World Cup which ended recently. I mean, we came in the final. We lost the final. It was a disappointment for us. This is the kind of expectation that we have from our guys. So this is something which, like, back to my point, I'll say that Afghanistan has a better chance on paper and the way that they're playing. Definitely, I think that they can, if they maintain the momentum. I think they have, if they learn the lesson of those drop catches versus Australia in the World Cup, 50 over World Cup. If they maintain their cool in those moments and don't switch off, then I think they can go a very long way. I don't know if they can win the tournament, but from a neutral's perspective, I mean, Afghanistan is a team which everybody loves, I guess. So you would want them to go far. I see them probably making the semis, probably. Yeah, high chance in my mind.
Definitely, because the kind of side that they've assembled, you have such
Yeah,
experienced players who are kind of also playing franchise cricket, which is a great thing. So it's players who are coming in with this skill set
and
and
it's
experience of having played elsewhere, right? Yeah.
and it's also one more thing. I mean, Rashid Khan is the captain, but you also have a player like Mohammad Nabi in the side. I mean, his experience you can't discount. According to me, he's one of the coolest cricketers there are. I think he's very cool. He's good at what he does also. I think that is something which makes Afghanistan a very very dangerous side. And yeah, I'll be really interested to see how they go about. But I stick by my view. I think they can really go far in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of performances they've put starting off with this one and the New Zealand one, which we will get to later, shows a lot of promise. They have the, pedigree to go a long way. And let's also look at the Nepal versus Netherlands match, right? Here we
Hmm.
saw how Netherlands cemented an easy win. But what did you think of it? Like, I mean, there was a lot of chatter about how, the stadium was literally just filled with so many Nepal supporters and the
Yeah, yeah.
vibe was just entirely different. Even Mr. also, kind of spoke about how it was such a special atmosphere to be a part of. So, yeah, a World Cup appearance for Nepal and a win for
Yeah.
Netherlands. What did you make of it?
Um, so I think Netherlands, though, is not the side at the level of Afghanistan. They're not a test playing side yet. I think they can spring a surprise or two, but still, I don't see them going that far in the tournament. I don't think. I mean, they may they may beat they may beat the odd big team or two, but yeah, I mean, they are expected to beat a side like Nepal, I guess. But still, I mean, I mean, how many of supporters you have in the crowd, they can't come on the ground and help you to play. So I just don't know how much of that may help. But yeah, I mean, it can help them boost their confidence. But with bat in hand, ball in hand, it's up to them to do what they have to do. That crowd can be a distraction also. It can work both ways. So it's how they manage their mental state in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, that is true because Nepal, recently they had a player who came under controversy and,
Yeah,
had this
Sandeep,
whole
their
court
main
case.
leg spinner. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yeah.
I mean,
So, in spite of that.
they should probably not let. It is easy for us to say, but like for a side like Nepal, probably which has one or two good players, and one of their main players has gotten embroiled in such a controversy, then it may not be that easy for them to probably cut off. But yeah, I mean, if they want to be a good side, then these things are going to happen. They have to be get used to them and bounce back from that. They can't hold on to it, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. And I somewhere see, there is genuine intent in trying to build these match winners and, just build a
Yeah.
side that can actually compete. And coming to the World Cup is the massive thing, as, reiterated by the fans who kind of came to the stadium as well. And let's, now also move on to our India versus Ireland match, where India was
Yeah.
just brilliant with the ball, no denying there.
Yeah.
And while chasing, we did see a few ups and downs, little hurdles there. But
Hmm.
what did you make of that match, the conditions there, and were you convinced with that win India notched?
I think overall I was just a bit of problem with Arshdeep's bowling. I think in the end, I thought he leaked a bit of runs in the end. He bowled like his first few overs are pretty good. I think the last over he leaked a bit of runs. That is something which I'll be worried about. As I said, in a low scoring tournament like this, every run counts. I think Bumrah again showed why he's the champion bowler that he is. It's good to see Hardik doing well. I know I've been a critic of him, but when he's in India colours, I'll always support him. So, but anyways, yeah, I mean, it gives a lot of balance to the side also when you got somebody of his caliber picking up wickets also. So yeah, I mean that is something. And Rohit Sharma, it's good to see him back in form because the IPL was not very kind to him this time, especially for Mumbai Indians. There were a few videos of him breaking down in the pavilion and all that. So it's good to see him back in form. Rishabh Pant at number three, he scored well that day. Let's see how far, like whether that can be sustained or not. And Surya Kumar Yadav should get back into form. Ideally, we need him to score big. And I mean, Virat didn't. He scored that one run, but I hope I hope it is a blip because he scored very well in the IPL recently. But yeah, these are my views. I think it was a good win. I think, but we should have bundled out Ireland a bit less than that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people felt, there was the, runs being leaked at the end that
Yeah,
kind of pushed Ireland to the total that they got.
yeah,
But the run chase, we did lose those two wickets, but it was a wicket like that, where you had to really grind it out, get those runs
Hmm.
and everything. And for all of us coming from the IPL, we expect these runs to come really quick, but that has clearly not been the case. And I think besides like the Australia versus England match that happened yesterday, where we saw, the run rate at a good 10, 13,
Hmm.
like just in the first 4 or 5 overs, we haven't really seen that trend,
Hmm.
percolate in the rest of the matches. But
Hmm.
nevertheless, great win for Team India and kind of sets us up well for even today's India-Pakistan match, something that we
Yeah,
will be
yeah,
previewing about.
yeah,
And yeah, let's also talk about the PNG match versus Uganda, right? Now, again, this was a low scoring affair,
yeah,
but
yeah.
Uganda registered a memorable first win. And again, we saw the celebrations and how much it meant to them. So, what did you think about this match? And again, an easy win for Uganda?
I think the batters have to really apply themselves on that wicket. Again, this match was in Guyana. So
Yeah.
I don't. So I was looking at the scoreboard, and only five out of the seven batters scored double digits. Everybody was in single digits. Five of the 17 actually, because 7 wickets of Uganda, 10 wickets of PNG.
Yeah.
So this is something which you can't hit your way out of form in this. You can't hit your way out of a rut. You'll have to probably they'll have to grind their way out, like you said. So I just hope, again, coming back to India, when India plays over there, hopefully in the semi-finals, we'll apply ourselves a bit more and not get too emotional. And if we get a few dot balls, then it's fine, I guess. If we can cover it up in the later part, because the pitch is the
Certainly.
same, it's going to be tough for both. It's
Hmm.
the pitch is the same. It's going to be tough for both. It's just how you deal with that tough part. That is the deciding factor.
And Arjun,
If they accept it as a part of if they accept it as a part of it and play accordingly, then it's fine. If they say no matter the wicket, I'll play the way I want, I think that may not be the right approach in my mind, personally. You have
fair
to
enough. And
respect
I
the
was just going to
conditions.
ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you this, Ki, do you think the toss actually will play a factor here? Like, say, if India is batting first, you're already under a lot of pressure, the conditions are really getting tricky to bat on. So, would you
Hmm.
rather have a bowl first and then come in to chase that?
This is something which I'm not sure about. The toss, I'm not really sure about that because see again, even if you bat first, even if you bat first, you have to maintain the momentum. I think if we like in the World Cup final that we had, if we score like 90 of 10, but then the next how many overs we don't do much, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You have to maintain that momentum. That is what matters. That's why the middle overs are very important. So no matter what happens, I think maintaining the momentum is the most important.
That is definitely true, and we will, get to talk more about this when we preview the India-Pakistan match as well. And I just think, when I think of this World Cup, especially this first week, it has been so chaotic, right? Just matches
Right,
happening like one after the other. And let's also, focus on the Australia versus Oman match because this happened like
yeah,
just a few hours later, and we saw Australia, seek out a commanding win. So I think it was a win by just like 39 runs or
yeah.
so. So what did you make of this win for Australia? Because I think again you must have seen on social media how they were coming off of a warm up match Australia and they didn't play Pat Cummins. So again people had just so many comments on hey,
Yeah.
he's the captain for SRH. How is he not playing here? So yeah, I mean when Australia took the field versus Oman, of course there was Pat Cummins and everyone. But what did you think of this game and any top performers that are of note for you?
So I think Australia has again showed why they're the most dangerous side now. I grew up fearing Australia. That fear of Australia is not there that to that level, but it is still there. I mean, that fear of Australia, like the fear of failure will never go. The fear of Australia will probably never go. Should always be there. It keeps
Yeah.
us alert. But it's interesting to see how the Australian team is doing well under Mitchell Marsh. I think Mitchell Marsh is a character, I guess, character and a half, I should say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to again see the dynamics because when you got uh, Pat Cummins is a captain of stature now, in my mind. He's got a World Test Championship and he's got an ODI. Plus, he's retained the Ashes, I think, a couple of
Ashes,
years
yeah.
ago. Yeah, he retained
Mm.
the Ashes. And he's somebody who's a leader of stature, in my mind. I think, see, I think what I like about the Australian setup, in a way, is they don't have that superstar culture, in a way. I think why that helps them is I've got a theory actually. One of my very close friends asked me, who's not a cricket fan, she's not a cricket fan. She asked me, why does Australia always do so well? And I thought for a moment, I know thought about that actually, like not on a deep dive into it. But then I thought that, Australia does not believe in giving farewells to any of their stalwarts also. Like if you remember,
Yeah.
Steve Waugh did not get any farewell,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly. Ricky Ponting also, one of the greatest captains, was told, boss, your day is done, now go. Now we can't be like that. Now what happens is a player who's probably not in his peak form. If you can't tell him that yeah, your day has not come, like you're not probably worthy of being in the squad, but he's still there in the squad. Will that team perform to that level? Is my question. Probably they won't. While somebody else who has that capability, but probably not of the same stature, who's sitting out of the squad, now, that guy could very well do well and propel us to the title, but for some reasons, we are not able to tell the stalwarts, ki, yaar, maybe your time has come. I think that is what is probably putting us down. People see the pressure of the final and this, that, everything. I think pressure of the final is there. We do need help on the mental side of things. But probably the thing is, the players who are probably in the no, I don't want to take any names. I'm not going to take any names, but probably what I think is that the players who probably should deserve maybe are not part of the squad at sometimes. I think we still pick on reputation rather than performance. I think that is something which we should change. And I mean, Irfan Pathan had said a very beautiful point. He was talking in the Star Sports, I think something. Matthew Hayden like was also there, like next to him. He said, "We are Indians, and our ethics and everything is different. I mean, we can't do the full Australian way. It is not natural to us. We can't tell XYZ superstar ki boss from tomorrow you are not there. We have to treat them with a bit of deferment, thoda maska lagane ka, this, that, whatever. We have to do a bit of that, but still make it clear to them that this is the end of the road. You know, this is the end of the road, and that decision we are telling them that with due respect, this may not be the best for us. This is what I think, and till the time we don't get to that fine balance, we may see ourselves coming up short.
That is
I know
actually
it's a
a fair point,
controversial view.
Arjun.
It's a controversial view, but this is what I thought based on my thought process at that time talking to my friend, and this is what I think is true, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. We do appreciate perspectives like that. And I couldn't have appreciated this even more because the next match that I'm going to be talking about has a superstar, right? Now, the
Yeah,
USA versus Pakistan match also, it again went down to the super over. We had USA kind of winning. And the
yeah,
superstar of this match is, of course, Saurabh Netravalkar, who was played for
yeah,
India in that under 19 World Cup in 2010, but, didn't
yeah,
find himself get those opportunities for Mumbai and Ranji Trophy. He shifted his base and everything. Maybe this whole superstar culture might have affected him as well, and his trajectory must have been probably cut off because of a lot of competition, and not just getting those right opportunities. But again, in the context of this match, it was such a stellar performance coming
mm,
from him, and Pakistan losing to US is something no one would have seen coming. So again, talk
yeah.
us through your observations from the match, and somewhere do you think this is where the whole narrative of Pakistan is a weak side compared to India today is coming from?
Yeah, I mean that narrative is definitely there, that Pakistan is a bit of like a weak side, but still don't count them out. I mean, I'm still, when they are hurt, they are the most dangerous, and you write them out. All of a sudden, they come up, get up one day, and say like, "Here I am." That is what I'm the most scared of. But anyways, with regard to Pakistan, I think in that match they had bad body language on the field. I thought, especially in the last super over, everything. They were clearly frustrated. I mean, everybody is going to get frustrated when you're pushed to the limit with a side which you're not, which you don't think is going to push you to the limit. I didn't think US would have, they would have thought that US would push them to the limit, but they did. And if they are such a professional side, supposed to be the top side, they should deal with that frustration on the field. Is what I think. So I think the leadership of Babar Azam was not at all inspiring, in my view. His body language, again, I understand, totally understand the frustration levels, but probably there is a way of reacting, I guess, which he may have missed a trick or two. I think um, that is one thing that I'm worried about, and also his batting. I mean, you can't score a 40 odd, like a run a ball 40 odd stuff and think to take your side over the line. I mean, this has been happening very consistently with him. I think again, I know we are different countries, but I think that superstar culture kind of is still there, or is still there also. This is something which picking players on merit is something which I hope would happen, personally speaking, in every country. But it happens, it happens. I mean, we can't change it sitting over here. But yeah, I mean, this is something which Pakistan should really look into. But again, we'll come to the match today. But yeah, I mean, we can't take them lightly. This is the time where we should have a guard up and just see what is happening here.
Certainly, and this match was massive for a lot of reasons, right? Because US
Yeah,
defeating Pakistan was a result, of course, no one saw coming,
yeah,
and a
yeah,
big moment for their cricket as well. A testament to, I think, all the efforts that has been put to the
yeah,
grassroots level in their domestic
yeah,
structure and everything. So here's hoping US cricket continues to rise, although it does see a great influx of like Indians, Pakistanis, and people of so
yeah.
many
It is. It
different
is. Yeah,
places in that team as well.
it is.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I think Pakistan is one team you definitely wouldn't take lightly, and we will again get to the preview in a bit.
yeah.
But focusing on our next match as well, we have Namibia versus Scotland, where Scotland
Hmm.
chased a competitive total of 156,
Hmm.
and it was
Hmm.
quite the run chase. And when people are like, "Arey, Scotland has got everything right, unka jersey itna acha hai," they're winning matches and everything. On a lighter note, about the jersey. But what did you think of Scotland? Chasing that total down, and it looked so professional, right? The way they just chased down that total.
I mean, again, I would have thought that Namibia would have won the match, given their whatever reputation and all that. But
Yeah.
again, reputations don't win matches, unfortunately. Performances do. So yeah, I mean, again, it is a good World Cup that we're seeing surprises. As long as they don't affect us, it is fine. As long as it doesn't affect India, it is fine. The day it starts affecting us, it will be like, boss, this is serious. No, as long as we are unaffected till the final and we win the final, it will be perfect. Yeah,
But Ajit, this also, makes me ask you this question
yeah,
of,
sure.
are you the kind of person, who would want the game to grow? See, the game will, of course,
Yeah.
grow when you have an underdog defeat, a superior team. So are you the kind of person who enjoys that side of things, or do you always on any given day, you want India to win?
Any day I want India to win. Yeah. What
Yeah.
kind of question is that? Yeah. But I
I
want the
think
game to grow, but within a limit. Like game should grow, but India should win. उस पे negotiation नहीं होना चाहिए.
Because there are some people who,
Yeah.
value the cricket more than, like the result or the outcome, as long as it helps, grow the game and, look at it from that side.
यार वो बोलने के लिए अच्छा है यार, but I don't want to repeat on November 19th again. I know what happened to me when that happened. I don't want that again. I'm like on a serious note. Yeah, you want the game to grow. You want teams which are there, but again, being an Indian, that side of me won't escape again. I mean, you want your country, you want your team to do well,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you want other
definitely.
teams to also do well. I mean, no doubting it. I mean, I won't wish bad on any side, personally speaking. Any side I won't wish bad on, but yeah, that Desh Bhakti won't go away from me, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. No questions on that, because I've spoken to a lot of fans, who kind of,
Yeah,
if it's a great game of cricket, you've seen great competition, and even if it means, the team you're supporting loses, they'd still be fine with it. So, I just wanted to get your
no, I mean,
perspective on that.
I'll see. Okay, I'll answer a question. If it is a non-India match, I want a seesaw match.
Yeah.
If it is an India match, I don't mind dozing off to sleep as long as India wins. I don't mind it. If people say, "Hey, kate ka takkar, this that," I'm like, "Nahi boss." I fall off to sleep. I see India won. That is what I want. End of discussion for me personally. I'm very
Yeah.
old-fashioned that way. I mean, life is very unpredictable. You got a lot of problems. I mean, India winning makes the one problem become less. That's how I look at it.
Definitely, that is a very welcome perspective as well. And again, just talking about these upsets and
Yeah,
results we don't see coming. I
yeah,
think the Canada versus Ireland match, everyone had predicted that, hey, it's going to be an easy Ireland win,
yeah,
but we saw
yeah,
Canada pull off this remarkable 12-run win. So again, what
yeah.
did you think of this win? And did you see it coming? Canada just
No, no, I did not.
pulling
I
off.
did not. I did not because Ireland is a test playing nation. They have been for quite a few years. One would expect a test playing nation to beat a minnow side like Canada. I mean, seriously speaking, it is Ireland should really think. I mean, I had written a Facebook post in 2011 that Ireland will one day become a test playing nation within the next 10 years. And it actually happened. And I shared that post again after a few years. It actually happened. I mean, Ireland was a good team. I mean, when when one becomes a test playing nation, one should not be happy with an upset here and an upset there. I think a match against 1 minute. I think a match against a minnow side should be taken as points for granted. You should not really say like like against Canada. They should be like they should not be a question. That those whatever like those points should be there, like fixed. Those are ours. Ireland should think India ke against Australia ke against we will win or we won't win. They can't have that kind of approach against a team like Canada. I mean, personally, if I were Ireland, I would look at it in that way. They should guarantee a few wins. See, with test playing nation comes a bit of responsibility, in my mind. There is a level of which you're expected to play at. I mean, when that doesn't happen, and when you struggle, and like when they struggle to beat teams, no disrespect to Canada, but which they are expected to defeat, then it causes a bit of a question, like what are they doing actually? They're expected to do a few things, they're not able to do that. So that is something we should think about.
But again, here, Arjun, just
Yeah.
placing another perspective is how,
Hmm.
although Ireland is a test playing nation, they don't play as much cricket. In fact, most of the cricketers have like a day job, and cricket is like a very secondary thing. That's also
Okay.
because they don't get enough funds, to actually play
I think,
those matches, right?
if I'm not mistaken, can we look this up? I think Ireland, as a they play in the county of England. I think
A few
county
players
cricket
do.
they play in England. A few players do.
A few players do,
So
yeah.
it's not like, see, Ireland, cricket may not be the most popular sport, but it has a following. It has a following. It definitely does.
Scotland as well,
N-
yeah.
Not as much as I mean, Ireland won't have that much following as anywhere else in the world, but yeah, there is a following. I mean, but still, I would expect. See, I mean, I get your point. I mean, I could understand that with players who are not full time players, but when you're when they're a test playing nation, you expect the players to be full-time players. One can't be a part-time test player in my mind, at least.
But
I
again,
would have
it
taken,
boils
yeah,
down to the question of
yeah,
resources, right? If they have enough
yeah.
resources to, have those matches, can they participate
Hmm.
in county? Are they able to financially sustain themselves? That's where the question comes. Ki, are you
Ideally,
able to play
hmm,
enough matches? Yeah.
ideally, this question. I mean, I get your point, but if this was the problem that they had, then this probably should have been deliberated by the ICC when before they were given the test status. Is what I would think. I mean, what you're asking are valid queries, but if they don't have the amount of players, resources, and also one more thing I'll say is every country may not necessarily want to go to Ireland to play, especially a test match. What are the economics of it? You got to think about that also. It's like if they're going to England for a tour, they may go to Ireland and play three T20 or whatever. Like,
T20s. Yeah.
yeah, the economics of that has to be thought of. It's like, for example, Afghanistan had a base in India for a long time.
Yeah.
It was economical for any team coming to India to play India and then after that play Afghanistan for a few matches. They could have done that. See, it is a question of economics also. People say, "Arey, why can't Ireland do this, do that?" Are teams willing to go to Ireland to play a 3 or 4 test match series? Will India go and do that? India may. I mean, Ireland board will probably get that, whatever. But what is in it for India?
Hmm.
What? I mean, this is the question which I mean, I hope that you're getting my point.
Yes,
it,
yes,
it,
I am.
it does boil down to financials also.
Definitely.
While one does want the game to grow, one also has to think what is in it for me on the financial perspective, because that is how boards get run.
Yeah, I mean, definitely
Yeah,
that is a fair point. That's why maybe, all these A tools or sending your B team to play there would also kind of help the growth and, streaming these
it will,
matches.
but still, I would still see it as if I were an Ireland player, I would want to play against Jasprit Bumrah. Why should I not
Any-
have to play? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
you want to test yourself against the best, right?
certainly.
On a regular basis, except no, not just on a World Cup where you have no option but to play them. You have the draws in the World Cup. You got to play just like you got. You got to play Bumrah. You got to play him. But if you have a series like that, which is set up where you got a full strength India team going to Ireland or any other minnow team, then I understand. I mean, India will also think, yeah, what is in it for me? But you got to
Hmm.
think about it from their perspective also. And coming back to your point about building the game, till the time any team does not send a full strength team to a minnow side or a supposedly minnow side, it won't work. And why would a full strength team like India, I mean, the financial everything that we have, why would we send it to them is one question that I would ask. I get
Yeah,
your point,
again,
but yeah.
yeah, yeah. But because of the players' workload management is why I'm suggesting, sending your B team. Because if your major players
Hmm.
are again, going through the brunt with all of these series, that might also, cause a
I mean,
toll. So maybe,
this is
yeah,
again
very
a very
debatable.
new age concept, which when I was young, I never heard about
True,
player
true.
management and this and that. Everybody would play every match. I mean, again, this probably is a serious thing, but this is a
Hmm.
very new thing for me. I mean, my core memories of cricket are of course of the 90s and the 2000s.
Yeah.
That time this thing of player workload management was never there. I mean, it probably was required at that time, no denying it. I mean, these guys, I don't know how they played in the IPL this time with the heat wave in India going on. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it was, hats off to them. I mean, you can't play in those conditions this year. In my opinion, they were inhuman
Hmm.
conditions. I mean, walking for 5 minutes in Mumbai in this heat is unbearable. Seriously, how these guys played for the time that they did, and Mumbai is such a place where at night also it is very hot. It doesn't cool down because of the humidity and all that. So I'm not saying. You got to these factors have to be got into consideration also. I guess.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think the point where we were going can be an entirely different podcast
Yeah,
episode,
yeah,
with the
yeah,
economics and the financial
yeah,
side of things. But
yeah.
definitely, Ireland does have some reflection to do because again, they
They
have
do, they
some
do.
great
Yeah.
players. We are seeing, some of them even play in the IPL, which is again a welcome sign. So fingers crossed, Ireland can, come out of this tough situation they're in. And that again, kind of brings me to another interesting match that happened, which was of Afghanistan, versus New Zealand, and how they registered a massive win. New Zealand completely looked out of sort. Kane
Absolutely.
Williamson, I remember seeing this reel like over and over again of him just getting bold. and they just looked so out of sorts. So, what
Yeah.
do you make of this match? And yeah, is it
No,
concerning New Zealand?
more than New Zealand looking out of sorts, I think Afghanistan played well. I would put it in
Yeah,
that way. Personally, I will give credit to Afghanistan. I think Afghanistan, with the intensity that they came in, made New Zealand buckle under the pressure. I guess that is what happened. I don't think New Zealand was under par in the sense they probably were, but still Afghanistan did their bit. The thing is, if one team is underperforming, you got to still do well to beat them. You can't let time take its own course. But still, I mean, I'll come back to my point of Afghanistan. They are not a minnow side anymore, and I'm very. I hope we don't have to face them anytime in the tournament. That's not a guaranteed win for us. That'll be scary for us. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, definitely no disrespect to
Yeah.
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I mean, they've
Yeah.
been a great side, but just looking at the way New Zealand played in that match was very
Yeah.
shocking. Because we've seen
Hmm.
them perform so well in ICC events, and this was, I
Yeah.
think, just a very forgettable memory
Absolutely.
for them. And of
Yeah.
course, we have our Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh match up for discussion next, because here this is, the um, match that everyone is looking forward to. And it's like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. We've seen the kind of rivalry they share, the whole
Yeah.
Nagin dance and everything that was kind of just there in the background. And guess what? Bangladesh pulls out this remarkable two-wicket win.
Yeah.
So did you again follow the match, and did you
I
also
did.
think?
I did. I reacted to it as if it was an India match. I was that involved in it. Doesn't usually happen to me, but yeah, I mean, I thought it would be business as usual for Bangladesh and that they would fold, but any other player would have folded. But I think Mohammedullah on the crease, he's I think he's a very cool guy. He has been very underutilized in that side. I think he bats very low down the order. But I think because he probably bats low down the order, he gets a chance to pull off what he did against Sri Lanka. Any other Bangladeshi player, I think they would have gotten too excited before they should have gotten excited. Yeah, but this guy maintained his cool, and yeah, he did what he did. And I was more interested in the post-match handshakes than the match itself.
Yeah, considering the rivalry that these two teams
I
share,
was
and I
like,
think a lot of fans loved it. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, they shook hands, and I was a bit disappointed. I wanted some fireworks, but nothing happened.
Yeah.
Wanted a bit of drama, sort of, but nothing happened. So they were
I
good
think
boys. Yeah.
Yeah, I think drama was after the match, because Hasranga said something like, the batters didn't quite step up and deliver, and that is a very
Mm.
concerning thing, which I thought was a very, I don't know, very crude way of just putting it out there that, hey, our batters didn't really
I mean, yeah,
deliver.
I
But I
mean,
mean, it was a
one
fair
should
thing to
never,
say, right?
one
Yeah.
should never put one's own team under the radar in public. I guess that's a see about leadership. I research a lot and I read about and I try to practice leadership as much as I can. Criticism should always be private, and praise should be public. One can't criticize one's players in public and then expect them to do well for you. Doesn't work that way. And you're talking about Hasaranga talking about his own players, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's not done. That's not done. Then you can't.
Yeah.
Then one can't expect the rest of the squad to stand behind him and perform for him. It is very bad leadership if in that case. I mean, I understand frustration. I mean, trust me, I understand frustration. But still, if one is at that level, one is expected to behave a certain way when the cameras are on. In the dressing room, say what you want. I guess when nobody's looking, those are the marks of a real true leader. I think every leader will lose his cool, but just a leader will know when to say that harsh thing,
Yeah.
when not to say it. I think being a bit diplomatic in public is very, very important.
Certainly, and Sri Lanka, I think now we see they have actually assembled a great squad. A lot of them again, play in the IPL, put up
Yeah.
great international performances as well. They would treat this as just another match and take the learnings from it, perhaps.
Hmm.
And talking about again exciting matches, we had the Netherlands versus South
Yeah.
Africa match, and this was again a lot of people were expecting Netherlands to pull off a win because of
Hmm.
again the kind of history they shared. They really made South Africa earn that win, so to say. David
Hmm.
Miller also registered the slowest 50. But
Yeah.
again, like, I think it just gave us a glimpse of how T20 cricket has evolved, right? Usually
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
see like all these high scoring matches, but this was one low scoring match that was still, so interesting, even though an Australia versus England match was happening just, in the same
Mhm.
time frame. So, what did you make of that match? And were you also in a conundrum of which match to follow while both were happening?
Yeah, so I think Netherlands, South Africa should, as I said, everybody, like every team should take the win, like wherever they get
Yeah,
it from. Um, Again, there is this thing which the Indian team sometimes gets into. I think when Ravi Shastri was the coach, that play with intent, play with
yeah,
aggressive, this that. I'm not sure I agree with that. The thing is, you got to play according to the situation. Got to be adaptable. If the pitch or the conditions say that you got to respect the bowler a bit, you respect the bowler a bit. One can't be just, I'll go out there and do whatever I want. I mean, that can't be, then they can't say that I expressed myself. You express yourself, but ultimate thing is what you see on the scoreboard.
yeah.
That's what matters. It doesn't matter how it comes, good, bad, ugly, like inside edge through to fine leg boundary. It doesn't matter. Nobody gets to know on the scoreboard. I know it's a very result oriented thing, but I'm not saying look at the result and perform. But yeah, I mean, you got to look at the conditions also. No? What see, conditions are like nature. You got to respect them. You can't say I'm greater than nature, and it doesn't happen that way. Nature will one day come up and show everybody their place. So I think that is something which can't take for granted and all that. So yeah, this is what like this is what I would think.
Yeah,
Play
I mean,
according to
again,
the situation and everything. Yeah.
exactly. South Africa did exactly that and was a remarkable win for them. They're second in this tournament. So, let's see how
And
they
also
kind of.
one more thing I'd like to applaud South Africa is I think they played according to the situation even against a side like Netherlands.
Exactly.
See, I mean, they didn't let their ego get the better of them. They could have been like, yeah, this is a small team, we'll hit them out. But no, I mean, they didn't let their ego get to them. They're like, we play according to the situation, even against a side which is not as strong as us. That takes a lot of self awareness, which is
For
very
sure.
rare thing. A very, very rare thing. This is what I would take a big thing out of. And maybe South Africa could be one of the teams which could go a long way, hopefully. Maybe. Yeah, just maybe.
Certainly. I mean, even though their wins have not, exactly been like those clean type of wins, but, at the end of the day, Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar, as they
Yeah, the win
say.
is a win.
And yeah,
I mean, as long as how did Australia win the World Cup? It wasn't an easy, except for the final. Probably
definitely
it
not.
wasn't easy. They had hiccups. Yeah, it is like life. You will have hiccups. You can't expect a easy thing. Got to
Yeah.
go through them, manage them well. The ups and downs, you should manage both of them well. That's what will determine if they'll do well or not.
That's definitely true. And our last two matches for discussion before we move on to the all elusive India versus Pakistan is, of course, the Australia versus England match, which saw the Aussies, put up a big total and eventually defeat England by 36 runs. It was a high scoring game. Reminded us a little bit, I think, of the IPL and how we saw those. High scores being scored. So, what were your takeaways from this match? And again, a win that Australia will be convinced with, right?
Yeah, Australia will be convinced with that win, and then I thought England would have a good side, but I don't know. I mean, probably they weren't able to go the fence over the finish line. It is a bit of justice in my mind because England always has that habit of pulling out the main players in the last phase of the IPL and
Ah,
saying we should do. And I would think, I mean, what is the use of? I mean, what better match practice would you get than an IPL? I understand you get 250, 270 scores and all that, but they should keep their ego out of it at least for once and let them play the entire tournament. I guess.
and funnily enough, even in that series versus Pakistan, like some of the matches were washed off. There was rain and like so many
Yeah, I mean,
concerns there as well. They didn't
it
exactly get
is.
that match practice, right?
See, it is. I don't want to get very blunt, but I mean, how much can you expect in the last week of May? Everybody knows it is very unpredictable. Weather is unpredictable in England even in the mid of July.
Yeah.
End of May, winter has just got over. I mean, wow, better if I keep quiet on this topic only. But yeah,
And
I guess they got what they deserved. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Australia, would be very
Yeah,
happy with that
yeah,
win,
absolutely.
considering, the whole Ashes rivalry and everything that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
share. And last but not the least is again West Indies versus Uganda, where
yeah.
West Indies clinched a massive 134 run win, just bowled out Uganda for 39. It just was a ruthless performance by them.
Hmm.
Again, do you see this West Indies, kind of show you signs of promise? The one, where they went all the way in 2016?
Um, Probably could, but I won't. I mean, I can't really put my finger on it because they are hot and cold. I guess it is a format which suits them the most, but still, I'm not really 100% sure about them. I'll be on the fence with this one. I'm not sure about how far West Indies can really go in this.
Fair enough. And yeah, Arjun, that kind of brings us to our next segment where, we'll just do a quick preview of our India versus the Pakistan match. Now, I think this is one encounter that a lot of fans just look forward to because India and
Hmm.
Pakistan don't play a lot of bilateral cricket.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
ICC
we don't.
tournaments and Asia Cup is probably the only time, we actually get to square off against our neighbors. So, what are you most looking forward to in today's match? Of course, I know your answer will be an India win, but besides that, are there any matchups you're looking forward to? What's the excitement like?
Um, I'm looking forward to a quiet evening, watching India
Okay.
win quietly. That is what I want. Okay, on all seriousness, I just hope that we cover up whatever bases that we have problematic, like maybe Surya Kumar Yadav covering up, getting back into form. Virat maybe doing a repeat of Melbourne, not in the same circumstances, I hope, but getting back into runs again. So yeah, so this is what I'm really hoping for, and yeah, this is what I'm looking forward to. At the end of the day, no matter how it happens, India should win. That is that is there.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And any matchups you're looking forward to, Arjun? Because we've seen, how Shaheen Shafridi and
Yeah.
Mohammad Amir can be, amazing with their pace, and you just get our
Hmm.
Indian batters out, and we have to struggle, right, with the
Yeah.
new ball and the power play and everything. So, is there any matchup that you're just excited
So
about?
against the left arm pacers, Shaheen and
Amir.
and yeah, and Amir, I think looking at the wicket, I think this New York wicket is a bit tricky. I guess we should again not succumb to our ego and probably play according to the conditions. This is something which I would hope that we do. So play according to the conditions and just see how it goes. Let us not lose too many wickets early on. I think that is something which which I would look forward to. Yeah. Then once you not lost wickets, then we can hit out afterwards. Yeah.
Definitely. And, I was going to, my next question was going to be this, if India wins the toss, what should we do? But again, let's see how the match conditions
Yeah.
are. There are
Let's
a lot
see.
of
Yeah.
reports
Also.
that, the same pitch as the
Hmm.
Netherlands match, Netherlands South Africa match is going to be used, but that would be in a low scoring one. So let's, not get speculative
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Arjun, do you have any prediction of how the match might go? Like, again, prediction is again speculation, right? But again, do
Hmm.
you have a prediction of how the match might kind of go on? Go on.
Prediction. Um. See, I
He
mean,
doesn't
if we
want to
don't
jinx
play, huh?
it.
My
Arjun
mind
doesn't
is
want
going
to
to
jinx it. Yeah.
yeah, my mind is going to dangerous places.
Okay.
There was this movie called Rocky, Sylvester Stallone. If you
Yeah,
seen
yeah, back. Huh.
Rocky 3 in the rematch with Rocky, which has with Mr. T. So with Mr. T, like Clubber Lang, who's the character. So this guy comes, the reporter asks him, "What's your prediction?" He looks away and says, "Prediction." There's pain. I'm like, I hope it's not pain for India and it's pain for Pakistan. This is my prediction. I hope it comes true.
Yes, let's just
That is
leave
it.
it
I'll
at
leave it
that.
at that.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yes, yes. Let's not delve deeper into that.
Yes, yes,
And
please,
also,
please.
Arjun, the kind of playing 11 that India has on
Yeah.
paper, the one that was used versus Ireland, would you want a similar one, like an unchanged one, or do you want to bring in just a couple of changes to, mix things up?
Is Rinku still part of the squad?
He's in
Not
the
there.
15, not in the, like, he'll only come in if there's an injury or so. So.
Ideally, he should be there in the squad. I don't know who we can drop, but he should be there in the playing 11. He should be there. I think he's very desperate to prove himself. That is something which that's a very powerful thing. I mean, he wants to show that he's worthy or something at the biggest stage in the world. That kind of eagerness. you can't manufacture. That's something which I'd really look forward to. And Rinku didn't get much of a chance to bat in the IPL, I think, recently. So nobody really knows what he's planning to do and everything. So I mean, if the Indian team does decide to play him, and apparently he's also very good in the field also. Maybe they can swap out Shivam Dubey for Rinku, but I don't see that happening. I
Yeah,
don't see that
that
happening.
can't
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Don't see that happening. Also,
Mm.
on the flip side, I'll argue against myself is in the sense that you want a stable playing 11 throughout the tournament.
Yeah,
If you
definitely.
make a change, if you chop and change, I mean, what if Rinku comes in and he does not do well, or he does not get a chance to play?
Yeah.
These questions do come in, and it may hamper with the team chemistry or whatever that there is. Yeah,
Certainly, and fingers crossed. Hopefully, India can go all the way. It's a very important match versus
yeah,
Pakistan, and as fans, we
yeah.
are excited. And Arjun, even
Mm,
as we reach the end of our discussion, I wanted to
mm,
ask, with the way
yeah,
things are headed, what does
mm.
your top four prediction look like? I see experts all around, making their predictions. So, have you given it a thought, like
Mm.
what your top four would look like?
Australia, South Africa, Afghanistan,
Okay.
um, India. Maybe I'm not very sure about.
Okay.
Depends. These three definitely for sure. Yeah.
Hmm. And maybe
According
a
to me,
toss up with
Afghanistan
India, England, maybe.
probably, yeah, India, England
Hmm.
probably. But these three, Afghanistan, South Africa, Australia, I think they would be there. Afghanistan, I think should be there. Yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want a good
And
fairy tale story. You want a good fairy tale
mm,
story. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, with all the political turmoil and everything that's happening,
yeah,
back home,
yeah,
cricket
yeah.
is something that has proven to, break all
Absolutely.
those barriers. So here's
Yeah,
hoping the best can happen there.
yeah.
And even Arjun, just picking your brains a little more now,
Sure.
there has been so much chatter about the pitches, in this World Cup.
Hmm.
And, it's not suitable for T20
Right.
cricket and everything. So what do you kind of make of it? And, just to add on to that, even
Yeah.
the decision of kind of hosting this World Cup in the
Hmm.
USA, were you like happy with it, like with respect to the growth of the game, or do you just feel like, hey, they could have probably just stuck with West Indies there with the hosting side of things?
See, the thing is, the next Olympics, I think 2028 is going to be in Los Angeles, and
Yeah.
cricket is a part of that.
Yes.
So I think they're trying to, with that in mind, they're trying
Promote.
to see this may be a pilot kind of thing, but it's a very big pilot testing. You can't have a World Cup as a pilot, ideally, but
Yeah.
still, um, even if you do, even if this was the thought of having it in the US, it should have been better managed, at least with regard to the pitch. I think I read a report that the ground for the India Pakistan match also was under construction till a few days back. It was like it was not completed or something. So yeah, I mean these kind of things they don't doesn't really look that good optics in a way. And also crowd management. I read some report about some Indian fan who had paid very high price for a ticket, and he was given a seat at the end of the at the end of the ground.
That.
He could
Hmm.
not see properly. For the price, it was a very unjust thing. I mean, these things. But more than that, I think the pitches are something which I'd read reports about Rohit Sharma getting hit on the thumb in the practice thing
Practice.
also.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean these are some things which for the long term these things should be ironed out. I really hope so. If they're really serious about, I mean, in the Olympics, I really hope that they get their act together and get some good wickets. And they can't just bring in these drop-in pitches few days before the match.
Yeah.
It
From
is a little
Adelaide.
bit. It is a little bit problematic. I mean,
Hmm.
one can't. It's like if you want to go on a diet, you can't go on a diet with a timeline. For this event, I'm going to go on a diet. After that, it'll be I'll go back to my routine. That'll never work that way. If they're really serious about this, then they should have made the wickets like how they say Australia's fast, South Africa's fast, India's spinning wickets, England is seaming, New Zealand is seaming, all that. US should also have its own kind of wickets. No, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if they're really serious about being a country which is there, and also about having it in the US, I think. I mean, for all their intention, it's fine. But I mean, we know the demographic who's going to watch the matches. They are
Primarily Indians. Yeah.
Yeah, they are going to have the primarily subcontinental viewers, especially. So our subcontinent people, so these kind of things, there's a limited audience, and also you got to think that economic wise, what sense does it make? Because everything is financial, right?
Yeah.
I mean, why does every country want India to tour them? Because it makes a lot of money.
Finance.
Finance,
Hmm.
everything is about the money. So they got to think about it. What is the viability of this also? Like the US may be a good team, but how financially viable is it for the ICC to have this? I mean, it's a huge country. Also, you got to see.
Yeah.
I mean, you if you have a match one time in Seattle, once in New York, it's a 3-4 hours flying time. This thing also they've got to consider. I mean, if they want to really one day if they decide to host a full 50 over World Cup over there, pipe dream maybe 20-30 years down the line. Got to think about these things. Then drop-in pitches won't work in a 50 over one. They'll have to develop their own wickets, have their own nature, their own kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely, food for thought. And I think
Yeah.
the USA is trying to, push for full-time membership as well, at the
Hmm.
ICC, trying to build their whole domestic system with
Yeah.
MLC and
Yeah.
everything. And yeah, Jim, before we kind of conclude our discussion, let's take this quick question from Akash. He asks, will toss be an important factor today, considering, quite some teams have won batting first? So yeah,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's better for India to bat first, especially in a high pressure scenario like this, where we have to win this match, and by any cost. And yeah, I think batting first is better. Yeah, if we get the chance, better to bat first. Yeah.
Right, yeah. And yeah, Arjun, that pretty much does conclude our discussion. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for joining me today and sharing your remarkable insights. You really added a lot of value to our discussion. And thanks to
Thank you.
all of viewers who were tuning in. Hopefully, when you're watching it later as well, you will have something to take away. And we will be doing live shows like this, doing a weekly review so we can just put in perspective all the matches that have happened. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to Never in the Back Foot on Instagram, on X, and even on YouTube. You can also follow Arjun on Instagram. He puts insightful content there. On Check him out on Twitter as well. And yeah, guys, we also have an audio podcast on Spotify. That's where we started. So don't forget to check out. In fact, Arjun did come on our 75th episode to talk about his book Captain Kadus. So make sure you grab a copy and just read that. So yeah, guys, until next time, bye and thank you so much.
Thanks.